Good morning, students. I am Dr. Nitesh Kumar Misra, Assistant Professor of English. Today, I discuss a new chapter, Figure of Speech. It is very interesting and important chapter. Okay. At first, allegory. Allegory. In allegory is a narrative in which the agents and action and sometimes the setting as well are contrived not only to make sense in themselves but also to signify a second correlated order of person, things, concept or events. Okay, there are two main types, historical and political allegory, in which the characters and the action represent or allegorize historical passengers and events. So in Dryden's Absalom and Achitophel, King David represents Charles II, Absalom represents his nature son, the Duke of Monmouth, and the biblical plot allegorizes a political crisis in contemporary England. The allegory of ideas in which the characters represent abstract concept and the plot serves to communicate a doctrine or thesis. Both types of allegory may either be sustained throughout a work as in Absalom and Achitophel and Bunyan's The Pilgrim's Progress, or exist merely as an episode in a non-allegorical work. One example of episodic allegory is the encounter of Satan with his daughter Sin, as well as with Death, the son born of their incestuous relationship in Paradise Lost. Another example so brief that it is a tableau rather than a development narrative is the passage in Grace, elegy written in a country churchyard. And next, and next figure of speech is alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of speech sounds in a sequence of nearby words. The term is usually applied only to consonants and only when the recurrent sound occurs in a conspicuous position at the beginning of a word or of a straight syllable within a word. In Old English alliteration meter, alliteration is the organizing device of the first line. Each line is divided into two half lines of two stretches by a decisive pause or caesura, and at least one and usually both of the two straight words in the first half line alliterates with the first stressed word of the second half line. In this verification, a vowel was considered to alliterate with any other vowel. A number of Middle English poems such as Piers Plowman and Gawain and the Green Knight continued to use and play various upon the old alliteration meter. Okay? And next, ballads. Ballad of the popular ballad, known also as the folk ballad or traditional ballad. A convenient short definition is that it is a song transmitted orally which tells a story. In all probability, the original version was composed by a single author, but he is unknown. And since each singer who learns the ballad by word of mouth is apt to introduce changes in both the text and the tone, a popular ballad exists in many variant forms. Typically, the popular ballad is dramatical In Impersonal, the narrator begins with the climatic episode, tells the story tertiary by means of action and dialogues, and tells it without expression his personal attitude or feelings. The most common stanza from called the ballad stanza is a quatrain in alliterate 4 and 3 straight iambic lines, in which only the second and fourth lines rhyme. And next, biography. Biography, late in the 17th century, Dryden neatly defined biography as the history of particular man's life. The name now cannot a relatively full account of the facts of a man's life, involving the attempt to set forth his character, temperament, and minds, as well as his experience and activities. English biography proper as distinguished from the generalized chronicles of the deeds of a king or the stylized and pious lives of Christian saints appeared in the 7th century, an example in Isaac Walton's lives. Okay, and next, autobiography. Autobiography is a biography written by the subject about himself. It is to be distinguished from the memoir, in which the emphasis is not on the author developing self, but on the people he has known and the events he has witnessed, and from the private diary of or journal, which is a day-to-day record of the events in a man's life, which he writes for his own use and pleasure, with little or no thought of publication. Example of the latter from are the 17th century diaries of Samuel Pepys and John Elvian, and the journals of James Boswell. Okay, then thank you very much. If you have any problem, then ask me or write a message. Okay, bye.